I just haven't really told anybody yet. But this one's really special for me just because I've been grateful. I've been blessed to like be around like nice mentors this year who have taught me kind of like how the art scene actually is. So like for example, like 33 NFT, he's a big collector in this space, and he's like a good friend of mine, and we always have phone calls, and he's always like guiding me to like the right path, and he's just showing me what the space really is. You know, as an artist, sometimes like you doubt yourself, like if your art's gonna sell or like if you're gonna make it, not really understanding how like the market works or how the space works. So like he kind of like gives me like the insight of like how things actually operate here. And at an early stage, he explained to me that like, you know, all these big artists that you see sell for thousands of dollars, it's not just because random people are buying their artwork. It's because they've made these genuine connections with certain art agencies or certain people who help push their art forward. So, you know, understanding that it's a big part of this art space is not just creating art, but making genuine connections with the right people that will help push your art and support your art. That was a big learning experience for me just because it taught me to move a certain way in this space. So the 30, like the number 33 is very symbolic to me because if you do a little bit of research of like what it means, it's a number of guidance. Like it's a number that if you see it very often, it's something that's kind of protecting you. So I really wanted to make a tribute to not only that number, but like to kind of like alchemy because I never really understood what alchemy was. I watched an anime when I was early. It was called Full Metal Alchemist. And that kind of
Oh
like
my
gave
God. So good.
so good. And I kind of got the gist of like what it is, but I didn't fully understand it until like recently learning about it. And as someone who like believes that like we all have a soul that makes us unique and we all have like a certain type of color of aura and energy, I've always kind of like felt like an alchemist in a way where like I'm able to like portray or manifest like my emotions or feelings and turn them into like something creative or like positive. So this last piece of the year that I'm going to be minting, I really wanted to like show like that alchemist like energy side of me in like my own style. So that's what I'll be exhibiting in Art Basel.
Dude, that's hype. And
Mhm.
what's the show where we could catch it at?
I'm pretty sure it's called Dive something. I have to check. It's gonna be in a hotel on South Beach. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I think I'm just really proud of this piece specifically because like looking back to like where I started in the beginning of the year, like my when I was first releasing art and looking at this piece right now, I can visually tell the growth and improvement of like my style and the quality of my work. So for me, it's just like the perfect way to end the year for myself to show like how much I've grown from the beginning.
It's super sweet. Thrilled to see it. And like, I just feel like there's a couple of recent pieces that you've minted recently that I've just like gone through and been like literally wildly impressed by. So definitely like appreciate the growth that you've made. And on the aura thing, I thought that was a cool point. Like, what's the significance of the color blue to you? Do you feel like your aura is blue?
Yeah, 100%. So to shorten the story a little bit, I think like 4 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening where I was just feeling like really, really low. And
Did you have Molly's and Joanna's crispy chili oil mushrooms beforehand?
I didn't at that time. I didn't at that time. And funny enough, like I do mushrooms every like once in a while, and I smoke weed because it's legal here in Canada, and it's just like a nice like creative relief for like stress and anxiety and things like that. But I was actually completely sober when this happened, which was like more trippy in my eyes. But yeah, I was just really, really like down at a point where I felt like, you know, this is probably like the lowest I've ever felt. And I just said a prayer. And within that prayer, like I kind of just lost eyesight. Like everything just turned black. Even when I tried opening my eyes, like I couldn't see anything. And then a blue flame like approached me, and it wasn't like burning me or anything. It was like a nice, very warm, happy feeling. So I didn't even freak out about it. I was just more or less enjoying the moment. And then after a few minutes, like 5 minutes, it went away and I was able to see again. And it kind of just left me like in shock as to like what just happened. So I would just research different type of, natural phenomenons that would like relate to this. And I came across different things like angel numbers, like gods and things like that. But there was this one Japanese legend that like attracted me, and it's called hitodama. So in Japan, like hitodama means human soul, and basically what it is that they believe in is that when you die, your human soul turns into like this blue flame ghost. So like when I saw that, it instantly like connected with me. Like I was attracted to the story. So ever since then, I would like create like blue fire ghost cartoons, or like environments with like a blue bioluminescent like aura. And then it kind of just clicked to me one day of like what that interaction meant to me. It was like a reflection of seeing like my own soul in a way. So ever since then, I've kind of just used that as a medium for like the style of my art, like a blue soul ghost boy. And I've progressed it in like different ways, making characters, environments, styles. But yeah, that I would say that's where like my blue style started.
Dude, thank you for sharing. That was like dope to hear. I also like the ring of Blue Soul Ghost Boy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I try not to say it too much. I feel like it freaks people out sometimes, but yeah, I would definitely say it's something around a soul ghost boy.
No, I think that's swaggy as hell, man. I would let that rock.
Thanks,
But
thanks.
what about you guys, Alyssa, Molly? How are you guys feeling about Art Basel? Any cool plans on the agenda?
I usually just like show up and see where life takes me. So I don't know. I'm just gonna show up. Like I haven't even booked my flight. I need to figure that out. But
Alyssa, talking about alchemy, what did you like about the book The Alchemist?
oh yeah, I was gonna ask Fonsol, have you read The Alchemist?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, it's my favorite book ever. You need to read it. But I just feel like I feel very connected to that book, and I think it was the first book I ever read. Like I was also just like at a really kind of low point in my life and feeling like I just wasn't like living for myself, and I was just very like not aligned to my true purpose. And that book is all about kind of like following your personal legend is what it calls it, and just like how there's always signs all around us and how we're all connected, we're all one. So that was kind of like I think the beginning of my mindset shifting and realizing like none of this is random and everything is like there's a phrase I always say now, I can't remember, but like there's meaning to everything. Like nothing is just random chaos. So I think it just like brought me a lot of peace, and it's kind of been like a guiding book in my life, and I've read it probably like 5 or 6 times. I call it my Bible. I tell everyone to read it. So yeah, you should definitely read it.
Who's it by?
Um,
Tal qual.
well, yeah,
I'm gonna read it definitely.
so good.
Great
Who's the
book.
author
The
again?
Little Prince is also
Paulo Coelho. It's
Yes.
Paulocoelho.
Yep. Yeah, classic of a book for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Joanna, I feel
You,
like you would have an interesting, like, I guess, knowledge of books. Like, what do you read?
Oh my gosh, I read a little bit of everything, really. I
Favorites, though.
just in favorites. Trying to think. There is this book I read, very short, very simple. It's called Van Gogh's Ear, and it's basically just this very investigative book of this woman who starts asking a lot of questions about how Van Gogh went about cutting his ear and what took him to that point. And I think it's a book a lot of people who like art and art history should read, because you suddenly see Van Gogh in a completely different light. Because a lot of media and people portrayed Van Gogh as this aggressive, chaotic drunk. And this book kind of removes that stigma and explains a lot about his personal history and how he kind of ended up in a situation where he cut off part of his ear. It wasn't even his whole ear, it was just the earlobe. Um, and like a new way of dressing wounds was invented from that. So Van Gogh had like an influence that extends to health, not just art. But I really like that book because it just already confirmed this idea I had of someone who is able to create beauty out of a lot of personal turmoil before that was even recognizable by the society he lived in. So that's one of them. Other books I like. Oh, there are so many. I like the Lord of the Rings series. I like those books a lot. Um, oh, the Spiritual in Art by Kandinsky. Highly recommended. If you like spirituality, if you like Kandinsky's work, it's a really interesting analysis of symbology and rhythm in everything that's associated to art and spirituality. It's really cool. So that's a great book.
Concerning the spiritual and art.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
Very good book also. And
Very
then oh,
sweet.
Still Like an Artist. Sorry, I've got it here.
You can
Still
keep
Like an
firing them off. No,
Artist.
we'll take them all.
Still Like an Artist, I think every single creative should read that book. It's by this man, Austin Kleon. This is his second book. Like, can you see it?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's great. It's like, it's kind of, it's printed in an engaging way anyway. But it's essentially just helps you streamline your creative process, and it kind of teaches you as an artist how to be really interesting and how to distill concepts into your practice without being derivative, which is very important.
Have
And
you
then
read,
there's this one.
have you read The Creative Act?
Yes, morning pages. Love them.
Yeah, I've been reading. I feel like everyone's read it, but I'm reading it right now.
I mean, everyone's read it for good reason, right? It's a good book.
Want to take a quick moment to just say thank you to everybody who's joining in the audience. And if you guys don't mind retweeting the pinned tweet, we'd really appreciate it. Also, below that pinned tweet is the YouTube link, so you can come catch us on video on YouTube hanging out. But yeah, amazing topic on books here. I feel like it's, you guys gave both the audience and each other like a lot of ammo to go and look into. But you said something interesting at the end there, Joanna, about like, distilling other practices into your work or including other practices into your work without making it derivative. And Vonso, you were talking about some stuff before that you learned from your mentor. And I kind of wanted to ask you guys, just as a group, what's like one thing that you feel like you've learned from people in the space, mentors, books, etc., just over time experience, one thing that you've learned that like you wish you knew when you first started your journey as an artist?
Mm.
I think for me, I would say like it's important to create from a place of just like being really open and connected with yourself and not thinking about how it's going to perceive. I think that's the worst thing you can do is to ever create from a place of thinking of the audience, which is also something Rick Rubin talks about in the Creative Act. And I think it's so true because anytime I've created with any, sorry, I can hear myself echoing. Anytime I've created with like the thought of how are people going to perceive this, it like completely takes you out of this like authentic like flow of creativity that's coming through you. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I feel like that is almost like the same thing that I was gonna say, but in different words. Was like I've like gained a lot of mentorship and had some people with good advice come through. Like since I guess I started selling my work, because I've been an artist my whole, like I've been creating since I was young, and so because of that, I just feel like the advice that hits the most every single time I hear it is to just like remember why you started, because like when I just started creating when I was 3, I wasn't thinking about what Alyssa just explained. You know what I'm saying? Like we weren't thinking about what does anybody think. We were just doing it. And as you start to like go down the road of like selling your art, gaining an audience, everything that the art industry has, like, you know, there's, I feel like that's like that like white light that always like, it never fails to just like remember that and come back, become grounded, I think. Yeah. So I feel like that's something I've heard from so many different people, and it's something that I'll read in books and like just it'll randomly come to me, like remember why you started, you know?
No, that's true. I can definitely relate to what Molly and Alyssa just said, especially like starting from the beginning. I think there was a lot of earlier artists in this space, like X Copy, like Lerona, and being an artist that doesn't just want to be, you know, the average artist, but like one of the best. Um, at first I would compare myself to a lot of other people, and I think that was like a big downside of like not being able to create from like a very core place, because everyone has their own style, everyone has their own place to create. So I think it's very harsh on yourself to compare yourself to others. And one thing 33 always tells me is he always sends me a screenshot of when X Copy was selling his pieces for like $200, $100. And it makes me think like every time I get into those like thought process where like, oh, maybe I'm not that great, maybe like my art pieces aren't going to sell. It always kind of what Molly said. It makes me want to like just go back to the basics as to like why I started creating, which is like just an outlet to like make me feel happy, for at least for
Can I
myself. That's
can
why
I
I like
interrupt you for a
creating.
second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because there's this very comforting statistic that I really want you to kind of add to your daily practice, and I think a lot of artists should be made aware of it. That even if just 1% of the world like to work and the 99% don't, that's still 19 million people. So the odds are always in your favor. There will always be a tribe of people that will really enjoy your work. So even if you're just doing it for that 1%, those are 19 million people that are resonating with your work and are getting comfort or some sort of message that is important to them. So I keep that in mind. That's a really comforting statistic. I use it when I'm feeling ugly in the morning. I'm like, okay, if I'm ugly to 99% of the world, 19 million people will still think I'm pretty. So
That's true. I agree.
yeah.
But yeah, I'd say the suggestion that I always tried to like remember is just to block off all the noise and just like continue just doing art, because I think a lot of the times we can get distracted over like some bullshit or just things that don't even like pertain to like what we're trying to do. But yeah, definitely block off the noise and stick to the art.
Yeah, your curtain just told you to F
Um,
off. So
What just happened?
if you
Oh
guys
my
are not on
God.
the YouTube stream, Joanna's curtain is jumping out off her wall and attacking her. So definitely jump on
Oh
YouTube
my
real
god, I
quick.
missed it. Wait, what? What was
You
that?
just, it was my curtain falling on me.
Oh my
It just
god.
happens a lot because it's like a stretchy rod. It's not actually nailed on.
Yeah.
So this is actually like a daily occurrence. My curtain just decides to spontaneously fall on me.
Ooh.
Apologies
But
for
honestly,
disrupting the programming.
you have great natural light with your curtain on the floor.
Thank you. Oh, okay. That's a
You're
gun.
very welcome.
There we go. Back
Um,
on.
what we were talking about, I'll say like one more thing too. That's just like my own mental note that I feel like a lot of people might be able to relate to, because like we all played sports at one time in our life, probably. Like it doesn't even matter which sport. Um, even any like I don't know. But even when you get to whatever high level of playing, like, and you can do all these different things, and you have all this different knowledge and skills and whatever, like, you always like start your day, or like you always start practice, or like whenever you're feeling like you need a reset, or like whenever you feel like you need to elevate. I feel like I would always start with the fundamentals. Like, that's what my coaches would always make me start with, is like fundamentals. Like, first you got to learn how to like dribble, and then everything else comes after that. I kind of feel like art is like that in a way, because it really is a practice, and you can never perfect it, just like sports, just like any practice. But yeah, I feel like that's another thing that keeps me grounded, that I just also feel like I relate to in my own life, because that's just what I was doing when I was growing up, was like playing outside and drawing and stuff. So um, but yeah, just wanted to put that out there. And also, I think that The Alchemist, I haven't read that book either, but I'm very intrigued. Like, I was really enjoying listening to you guys talk about those books.
I haven't.
Like, yeah, I'm reading like this philosophy book right now, and I'm just kind of like, I think I'm ready to like study something that's not philosophy.
I like The Alchemist because it like tells it in the story of like this little sheep herder boy named Santiago. So it's like more of a story.
Alyssa, are you on?
Oh my god, that was definitely my fault. But yeah, and it's a really easy book to read. It's like it doesn't make you have to like overthink or anything. It's easy to read.
It is very like it's one of those books where you're reading it and you feel like you're watching a movie at the same time, just because it takes you on that journey. So
And I just relate so much to certain parts of the book. Like, for example, like when he has to get that little job in the glassware shop, and it's almost taking like a little break from following his journey, but it's necessary. And that's what I remind myself anytime. It's like, oh, I have to get a little part-time job, or oh, I have to.
Yeah, you're at the glass shop.
Yeah, I'm just like at the glass shop. It's not a big deal. Like, I'm gonna keep going on my journey a little bit. Like, it's it just like really helps me like all the time.
I also really like the fact that the main character, his quest starts off being one of like trying to build a personal legacy, but then at the end you kind of understand that the guiding force behind it all was love. And I think that's something that's really worth clinging on to, as one of the main lessons from the book. It's really nice.
I actually don't remember that part. What I feel like
You
he
don't
starts
remember
off.
Fatima?
Oh,
My guy.
is
It's
Fatima
very
what,
important.
is Fatima what gets him? I don't know. I still feel like when he gets to the end, I still feel like he was just gunning for the personal legend.
Yeah, but then he gets there. Wait, what happens at the end? It's like,
We can't spoil it for Molly.
okay, we won't.
But
I won't spoil it, but I think if you guys read a little synopsis, like just a very quick, I forget how to say it, but just a
Blurb.
little quick, blurb of the book, you will remember that one of the biggest driving forces behind his entire quest was to be greater for love. I'm trying to say this without spoiling it, but now I sound very Portuguese and very flamboyant. I'm like, oh yeah, he did everything for love. It was essential. Yeah.
nonetheless, exceptional book. Shoot, there was like something else I wanted to ask you guys. What were we talking about before we were talking about The Alchemist? Was Molly? Oh yeah, Molly talking about fundamentals. So I feel like fundamentals, Molly, like when I think of it in sports, it's like you want to go back to like the skills, right? Those fundamental skills. And then, if you reconnect with those fundamental skills, then like your more complex skills are sharpened as a result, and you can use those freely. But I feel like with art, like I'm sure that definitely applies for you guys, but the way you guys also described it, I feel like it's almost going back to like your fundamental like roots and beliefs of like why you were creating, as you said before, Molly. Just because I think that we can all get sucked into this world And naturally, everybody does want to make money, right? And it's like, oh, how do I make income off of this? But when you first picked up a paintbrush, I assume that for the large majority of artists, it was not, whatever medium you use, it was not for the sake of like, I'm trying to sell this. It was like you had some sort of emotion, some feeling that you had to put down. And I feel like that's such and you didn't care if it sold or if anybody liked it. It was just like you had to put that down. And I feel like reconnecting with that fundamental feeling is probably so important. Just like not caring how anything's perceived. It doesn't matter if this ever gets seen, sold, liked, etc. It's just like you have the emotion and it has to be put down. And I think that that's something that we all appreciate as like viewers and appreciators of art. It's like that's so raw, that's so human. And anything that I think is like intensely human will generate a lot of love.
I believe that.
That was beautifully put.
Yeah, I like that list.
I think as
I'm
artists
gonna
too,
get that tatted.
I think as artists too is just like creating an art is just something that's always there for us, you know, whether like we're going through something bad, sad, or like we're happy, like creating is just something we can always turn to. So for me, that's something I always have appreciated, and it's just something that it's just a nice outlet to turn to whenever you want to. It's like that McDonald's hamburger that's just always there for you at the end of the night. That's kind of just how art is.
How do you guys feel if you have like that, you really want the McDonald's hamburger at the end of the night, right? Like you feel like you have something to express, but you don't feel like you have the tools at hand.
Like what, my debit card?
I feel like that's like the fun about art and like being creative is like you shouldn't like confine yourself into thinking I can only create with this. Like I feel like if you tell yourself you don't have the right resources, most of the time that's just you kind of like putting these limitations on yourself and making an excuse because you can, I don't know, just like experiment with what you do have, you know?
Yeah, man.
True.
Emphasis. There's always excuses, but like at the end of the day, I think like anything can be. I think that limitations are a blessing to artists, especially when it comes to material, because it kind of forces you to make the most of what you have. And I think that that's something that's like fundamental to like an artist's practice, which is like we're human, we have this ability to create that. Like what other species on this planet has the ability to make art? Like come on, like none. And if they are like and we look at it as art, it's not like conscious for them. So I think that actually like if I have only a green pastel and that's all the color I have and I'm like feeling like I want to make something with color, I'm like, oh my god, how am I going to stretch this green to pull out what I'm feeling right now in this moment? Like nothing else matters but this moment. And I usually feel like with limitations like that is when I'm able to make some of my best art. So
You have a little echo, Molly, I think. Might be the phone.
my
But
phone.
What's your favorite color, Molly?
That's a tough question, man. I don't know.
I feel like it's greens now.
I don't know. I
Green?
go through phases. I think that I like green because it's like this. It's like the color of life. It's like nature, and I think that nature is like a big part of me. But I also love like blues because the sky, and
Blue Soul Ghost Boy.
I also like yellow because the sun. I don't know. I just like all colors, dude. They're
Molly
all on
has
the
that
spectrum.
aquamarine kind of aura to her, like this color kind of. Oh, this is
Ooh.
horrible lighting.
I like that,
Or-
Joanna. Can you
I don't know.
can you tell us all our auras?
Pardon?
Can you tell all of us our auras? Alyssa, you can jump
Um,
in too. I feel like you'd have a perspective.
Through
On
a
it.
screen?
Yeah, through a screen.
I feel like Von Souls is kind of like it's blue, but it's more like, oh, I have a little ribbon. Hold on, that I can show you. So Von Soul would probably be like this blue closer to the purple, like almost an indigo-y color. Hold on.
I'll take it. As long as it's blue, I'll take it.
My water bottle.
Yeah, it's like a very soothing, almost like dusk time blue. Then
I
Molly
like it.
has this like very, oh my God, I wish you could see it. This looks really yellow in this light. It looks almost gray, but it's this very crystalline, almost aquamarine color. Like imagine Tiffany blue, but so much lighter,
Mm.
like a little mountain lake type of color, like Banff National Park,
Hmm.
the lake's color, kind of like that. Uh, trying to trying to think.
Joanna's like, Steven, you're black.
Well, I didn't want to say it like that. Uh, no,
Uh,
I feel like Steven, you have more like it's like an orangey aura, like an like a
like
dark
a like an
dark
ordinal
orange.
color.
So I'm a traffic cone.
No, no, no. More like it's more like a rusty orange. Rusty sounds like a horrible
Rusty.
adjective. I'm sorry. But you know,
Rusty traffic
rust
cone,
orange.
Steven.
No, it's really pretty. Hold on.
Bro, I'd rather
You
be the
guys,
pine cone.
you guys are making me sound awful. No, I'm making myself
I would
sound
have,
awful. But it's
regardless of what
like
you said, I would have trolled you.
that is so true. Like this one, like that, but just a couple of shades darker. And I feel like Alyssa is red. Like
I am a fire sign, so
yeah, like this kind of
ooh, really
red,
interesting.
which
I
is
like
almost like it's borderline with pink, but yeah, it's a nice red
that.
also. I think it I think they all mean different things. I think it has to do also with like the stage of your life at which you are encountering yourself. So right now I feel like Molly's kind of settling into a spiritual reality that is very much her own, and she's very tapped in with her subconscious. I feel like Alyssa is kind of like bulldozing through her art and she's creating a lot of stuff at the same time. So there's a lot of red drive going on. And then Stephen is also pushing a lot, but it's more of a like a late night push. It's a marathon. Also, this is like doing sprints. And then Vonsel is kind of like in a very similar line with Molly's. But you know, they're not uniform. There's more to them. There's different colors in different areas. Look at that.
If you guys want to read yours, and yeah, so quick note to everybody, we are on YouTube currently. You can grab the YouTube link from the pinned tweet just underneath that. Also, would appreciate everybody retweeting the pinned tweet. But yeah, so colors are red, which Joanna said was Alyssa. Wait, Joanna, what are you, by the way?
See, that's the thing. I can't always tell mine because I think that there are sometimes moments where I don't see myself in the right lenses. I find it easier to look at other people's energy because when I'm looking in, I'm not looking at the energy around me. I'm looking at the energy within me, and that's always changing. But I've been told before that I have a dark blue.
So indigo.
I don't know. If we're getting princessy with the colors,
If
then
we're going with what's on the
mayhaps.
screen. So reading
Yeah.
out what's on the screen, Alyssa was deemed as red, which is well-grounded, energetic, strong-willed, which I think aligns with what Joanna was saying as well. Orange is what Joanna deemed I was, adventurous, thoughtful, considerate. I appreciate it. Yellow, Joanna, you said Molly was more, no, Molly was like aquamarine.
Molly's like an aquamarine.
I gotcha. So we don't have a
It's like
yellow.
a mix of green and blue.
Mm-hmm. We don't have a yellow in the group, but yellow is creative, relaxed, friendly. Green, so Molly goes between green and blue. Green is social, communicator, nurturing. Blue is both Vonsel and Molly, intuitive, spiritual, free thinker. Indigo, curious, spiritually connected, gentle. I think you actually said Vonsel was more indigo, Joanna.
He's like borderline, yeah, borderline purpley. You know, it's
Yeah.
like a purpley blue.
Purpley.
It's like
Which the
a warm blue.
the spiritually connected, I think, hits home there. And then lastly, we have Violet, wise, intellectual, independent. Boom.
Sounds
There we
accurate.
go.
I feel like we've been cooking for a while, so I do want to start wrapping up soon. But before we do, I missed Gen Art Wine and Love at Station 3 last week. How was it?
Hmm. It was good. It was good.
That feels like a lifetime ago. I don't really remember it.
I mean, that was the event where they had, let's see, we had MoMA speaker, Sotheby's, and I believe maybe somebody from Art Blocks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, it's the best one we've had because of the turnout. The panel was good. I listened in and out. And yeah, it was a good event. Like, there was a lot of people that showed up.
Yeah, it was good.
It seemed like there was a lot of energy around it. I was like pissed that I wasn't there.
Mm.
But
I skipped it, sadly.
just preparing for the turkey days. I get it, Joanna.
Oh, no. I wish.
Joanna, you were born in England,
No, I was born in Japan. I'm half Japanese, half Portuguese.
but you've lived in England before?
Yes, I lived in the UK. I went to boarding school from ages 15 to 18, and then I went to college there as well. So spent 10 years in good old Britain.
Did you ever have eels and mash?
Oh, of course.
You had eels and mash before?
Bangers and mash, my
Oh yeah,
guy.
but
Bangers
is
and mash.
no.
Sausages.
Is that the same thing as eels and mash?
I'm sorry, eels?
Yeah. I don't think you know what I'm
My
talking about.
guy. No. What do you
Uh,
mean, eels?
I have a few friends from England, and apparently that's like a delight over there. Eels and mash. Google it.
Wait, what's the mash?
It's like mashed
Potato.
potatoes.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actual eels, like that
Yeah.
swim around.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's
I
what it
have
is.
I assume they're dead before you eat them.
never
Molly.
heard of it.
Apparently, it's
I
a
haven't heard of it
delicacy.
in a million years. I mean,
Apparently, it's a
eels in Japan,
delicacy.
absolutely. Like broiled eel on a rice bowl, fantastic. Now, eels and mash, I never heard of it, but I don't trust the English when it comes to culinary
Yeah, me neither.
endeavors.
After
No
seeing
offense to
that, I
anyone.
definitely don't trust it.
No, I mean, in Japan, it's really good. But I don't know about England. I mean,
I would
yeah,
try it. I would eat
I don't
anything.
trust it. Oh, well, good luck.
Is there something that you wouldn't eat, Joanna?
Oh, that's kind of a hard question because I know what I don't like, but if I had no option, I'd still eat it. It's not like I'd throw up. I'd just be like, oh, God, this tastes awful. Oh, actually, yeah, marzipan. Oh, I can't stand it.
What is that?
It's like poison. Like an
Isn't it like
almondy.
totally man-made and processed?
Yeah, it's like
No.
almond paste shaped into fruits. And it has this taste that just invades your nostrils without
Hey, yo.
permission. Yeah, it's not good. I have very strong opinions towards marzipan.
I feel like we started with Joanna's nostrils, and it's a good time we've gone full circle and we can end with Joanna's nostrils. So if anybody does want to see Joanna's nostrils, you can go to the pinned tweet and just scroll underneath. And then
Why would
get,
you
like, a
do? Why would you
close-up
tell
look.
them that?
Because that's what friends do. Like you put each other
Thank
on
you.
blast.
Oh my
welcome.
gosh, wonderful.
But I do want to thank everybody for joining us today. Amazing audience. Really appreciate you guys. This is exactly why we do this. I want to thank the wonderful artists that we have on stage. Alyssa Stevens, Molly McCutch, Von Sol, and Joanna Kawaharalina.
Wow,
I like saying
you
it
really
with
put your chest into that
I
one.
do, yeah. I commit to it. I want to thank all you guys for jumping up and like going as deep as you did. Loved hearing everything you guys shared. Vaughn, I think like your whole like we covered your backstory, man, and that was awesome, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
So appreciate your guys in conversation and want to encourage everybody to follow these wonderful artists up on X as well as keep an eye out for their work. Find them at Art Basel, hang out. They're all down to hang. And also, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to subscribe to Eminent on YouTube. You can grab that from the link in our bio. We love you all, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.